What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sports. I am Dom with the Great Man Sauce, and we've got a special pod today, Sauce. The Hobby Hangout, courtesy of them. They've connected us with Jesse Schwarz. So, how you going, Jesse?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good, brother.
Anytime,
Good to have you on. It's exciting stuff. Linking up with the Hobby Hangout and having you on and have a chat about some of your ventures and the NFT space and how you've been navigating those surroundings.
So, the first question, really, Jesse, is for those who don't know what is Top Shot?
So Top Shot is like a digital version of basketball cards. So they launched last summer, and I kind of got into it late summer, and then kind of that peak when everyone started hearing about it was more January, February of this year. And it's basically like using the blockchain technology to kind of remove the whole physical aspect of collectibles.
Interesting. So that's obviously backed by a crypto, a bit more like info.
Yeah, it's on the blockchain. So basically, every Top Shot moment has it's a player and there's a different series and it has a serial number. So one moment might have 49 editions and you might have number 3 of 49 and the next guy has number 4. And so every single one is unique because they're numbered. So there's only one number 3, Andrew Bogut of that series or whatever it is. And
I wouldn't buy buying an Andrew Bogut Top Shot. Let me tell you right now.
That's a good shout out.
I actually did. So
you did. There you go. That's a good Aussie shout out too. We appreciate that.
I'd go with Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, I was just thinking, okay, off the top of my head, who's somewhere on there? I'm going to just use that name.
I like it.
I actually did buy Andrew Bogut's moment.
I like that. How many moments do you currently have in your collection?
Right now, about 400.
Wow.
I think at the peak, I had over 1,000. And yeah, it's just kind of about, buying, selling, trading. So
it's practically the same concept as trading cards because you're out there, you can go into the marketplace. I've been on there before on Top Shot. I tried to get in Q. Can you give a bit of an insight into the Q system and at its height, how crazy it was to even get just the $9 USD pack?
Yeah. So actually when I joined, packs were just sitting there and it was like, the point of it was, we have some rare moments, some legendary ones that are classified and that are more expensive. But the base moments, which are the common moments, were supposed to they were intended just to sit there and be available all the time. So the packs would just be available. So you could walk in and buy 1, 5, 10, 30 packs, whatever. But what happened was the amount of users that came in it was so much at once, and it kind of overflowed the whole site. And I think they had some tech issues where it was just like packs were selling out too fast and they had issues dropping them and people wanted them and the prices rose and the users came in. And so it became this crazy thing of no one could buy a pack because they were always sold out. So that's when they implemented the queue, which was okay, we're going to have to use this tech to make people wait in a queue and make it a little more fair. So you come in the queue, your position gets randomized, and you got a pack that way or you don't. But they're getting back to the system, at least for the common packs, where you can just get them all the time.
It's not a bad system,
which I think is important for a collector. It's like with cards. There are cards that sell for $5 million, but anyone can go into a store and buy a pack of cards, which is part of the collecting. If you can't even get into it at all, then it's not fun. So
I completely agree. Now, you spent 208,000 USD to purchase a LeBron James Top Shot moment. It was the highest paid moment at the time of your purchase. It was all over the place. It was on news. It was everywhere. It was crazy. It is a huge price tag. What made you go down the path to buy this Top Shot moment over, for example, cards?
I think I had just gone deep into Top Shot. So I was already in it for a few months. I had seen the crazy amount of users come in and the prices go really crazy. And I was in super early. So when you see that and you kind of buy in and, you see other people really buy into it, it just kind of gives it that value. And kind of, I had trust in the product, and I saw them raising a lot of money, and I saw a lot of people coming in and talking about it. And I just hadn't gone into cards that way. And I think there's a lot of things that make Top Shot better and more efficient than cards. Obviously there's more, there's the other way to look at it of the history of cards. And that's kind of, and I appreciate that too. And I see like, that's what gives cards value, is that LeBron James's rookie card is 20 years old, and somebody's kept it in pristine condition for 20 years. And that adds a lot of value too. But on the other side of it, there's no real need for physical things anymore for collecting at all. And I think just being able to see your collection online and buy and sell, and not have to get it graded, and not have to send it in and wait, and maybe you lose something or it burns in a fire. It's all there on the blockchain. You can see what everyone else has. They can see what you have. There's an open market that's really easy to interact with. So I really like that.
Speaking about the blockchain, obviously, completely agree. And John's spoken about this a lot in terms of everything's getting digitized, and everything's is going from physical to literally cloud to online. So the question to you is, I don't know if you might even dabble in this, or you've dabbled in it already, but have you obviously seen Panini Blockchain Store, where now they're selling the blockchain card? They're giving you the physical card on top of it now, which is an awesome thing, but you get the best of both worlds, and it's a one-of-one blockchain card, Panini card. So is that something that may interest you down the track, potentially into getting to the card space, just going down the Panini blockchain route?
Yeah, I think I haven't looked into that specifically, but like I said, what I appreciate about cards is the history, and I think that does add a lot of value. I think I've been looking for a LeBron rookie card just to kind of get my feet wet and cards, just because I think that would be something cool to own. And yeah, what makes it cool is 20 years ago, nobody knew that LeBron would be LeBron. Obviously, people knew he'd be good, but so I think that's really cool that you're holding something that was created 18 years ago or whatever it was.
Definitely. So what do you think is the future of the Top Shot brand? Do you feel they can improve on it further? Big picture for us, for example, where you see it going?
Yeah, I think they're still really early. I don't know, there's definitely been kind of a downswing the last couple months, and a lot of people complaining about their moments losing value from the kind of peak in February. And I think it's really an interesting challenge for them, because they're not only creating a product, but they're creating the whole market. So it's all supply and demand, and they're creating all of it and the whole ecosystem. And it's a very interesting balance, because on one hand, people want packs, they want to be able to buy them, they want moments, they want new stuff, but then they're mad when stuff goes down in value. And the reason stuff goes down in value, it's just supply and demand. So I think it's a very interesting challenge. I think, Dapper's just raised over $300 million from people like Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant. So for that reason, I really think that they have a bright future, and they're going to put all the resources they have, which is a lot, into making this a long-term success. And the NBA doesn't just stamp their brand on anything. So I think that's a huge part too. So I'm excited to see what they do. It'll be interesting when they really, they've been just trying to work out the kinks with their tech and stuff, and they're about to really go for it with the marketing. It'll be interesting what they do.
Your thoughts on that, Saucy, as well?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting time, because there was a time there where you log onto that platform and you could not find a moment for under $20, and I'm going to call it a moment because that's what they call it, essentially. But now, I log on there today, and you can pick up Jamal Murray, base 35,000 minted moment for $3, is the lowest ask. So in terms of the amount of people that sort of came and maybe abused the system a bit, we did see a bit of that early on. We spoke about it in a podcast where people who had multiple accounts and were just buying and flipping packs and all that sort of stuff. I think maybe some of those people have left because maybe they're on to the next thing, or it's not sustainable anymore. There's not that as demand for packs. But maybe that might come back, and maybe this is a good opportunity if you felt like, you didn't want to drop the big money back then because the market was so high, and you want to dabble in Top Shot right now. Like, now would be a good time because you can go in there and pick up a whole bunch of moments, maybe with $100, a whole bunch of base moments, and hold on to them, $2-3 moments. And hey, if they go up, because you got to think they went up to $20 before, so there's nothing stopping that from going to 10, and then you could probably build your way up, it's an interesting prospect. I like it because you don't mess around with things like eBay. You're not messing around with things like taping up, packaging things, and wasting time doing that. It's like going on. It's fast paced. I get the premise behind it, but I think the platform needs to develop a bit more and just get a bit more strategic with some of the things that they do later on down the track, to like keep the interest for people. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think, if they ever do something where they can drop like retro moments, with Jordan in it, with Magic Johnson, with like guys like Shaq and things like that. Imagine you get a moment of Shaq breaking the backboard. Like, it would be off its head, right? And I think people would love that sort of stuff. So I think it's like, can they do that, or is it only like they're constricted to like the modern NBA? What's now?
They have the Run It Back series, actually, which is old moments. So they did one of the 2013-2014 season, and they did a big series of that last year, which had like Kevin Durant. It had Giannis's rookie card in there. And they already announced they're planning on doing one that has Shaq, T-Mac, and Iverson. So people were saying 2006.
There you go. So
yeah, personally, I'm not a huge fan of that series. I think it sort of breaks the it's sort of like you want to keep things constricted a certain amount, if that makes sense. Like, what makes LeBron James's rookie card valuable is that it was made 18 years ago, and they can't go just mint. They can't just go print LeBron James rookie cards right now. And so to me, part of it kind of I don't like. I mean, obviously it's cool to have guys like, Shaq, who would never be on the platform, or they have Dirk and Tim Duncan already. And it's cool if those are your favorite players to be able to collect them. But, Kevin Durant's 2013 moment is considered like the first moment on Top Shot. And to me, that doesn't make sense because it's like not his first moment. It's from 7 years ago or whatever. So
yeah, fair call. That's also a very good point. And literally, since it burst onto the scene, how would you feel that the market is trending towards Top Shot? Obviously, we saw massive growth. Massive growth. Do you reckon it's stagnated a bit or it's declined a bit? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, the prices have definitely declined a lot since the peak. I think the issue is if it would have just gone from when I started in August, those prices, to now, and it just gradually went up, the kind of mood around it would be really different, right? It's still, stuff has 10, 20, 30 times the price more since then. But because of that crazy run up in February where stuff kind of, 10x, then 10x again, and people that were coming in at that time were just either like flipping and making all this quick money every day, or, kind of like seeing their collection go up from $1,000 to $12,000 in a matter of a few days. And now it's back down to 1,000. That's kind of left a bad taste in people's mouth. But, if you took that away, it's kind of, a community that's grown, a marketplace that's gotten a lot better, and prices that have gone up over a few months. It's just, when people get used to these kind of gains, then when it comes back down to earth, they're like, and a lot of people did come in and buy near the top, which, on one hand, yeah, I feel bad for people who came in February, heard about this thing. All they heard was, oh yeah, it's just getting started, and they're buying something for $4,000 that's now worth $600. That sucks. But at the same time, when I see people complain, it's like, when you buy something to make money, that's a risk, right? Like, there's risk and reward. Like, it's an investment in your mind, and you're buying something to invest and make money, and you lose money, you can't be upset. Like, there's two sides to it all the time. So, I think, if you don't want to play that game, then don't play the game. But
it's definitely true, Jesse. I think that's just it's a game that everyone wants to play, and we've spoken about it before. It's the game.
It's only
they
good
wanna
when
play.
everything's going to the moon, mate. It's only good
Exactly.
when everything's going to
That's
the
it.
moon.
Every time someone invests in something, it's like the expectation is everything goes to the moon, and that's it. There's never going to be a down period where there's a struggle in that part of the hobby, whether it's a Top Shot hobby or card hobby. And that's where our communities are very, very, very similar, like card community and the Top Shot community. People buying stuff at the top, and now like there's a bit of a down period in NBA trading cards, and people just jumping off the bandwagon because they're like, oh, there's no money in this. It's all crap. It's bull crap. Like we're sick of it. And it's what you've just told us is literally exactly the same. Like they bought at the top, it's gone down, and they're like, oh, we're sick of this now. It's pointless. It's no one's in it for the long ride anymore. Everyone expects it here and now. Like,
yeah,
but it's good that,
you know, like all, you know, you buy a house, you don't flip it in a week and make triple. Like it's just things can be good investments. Like Top Shot's only been around a few months, not even a year. It's kind of crazy, and people are up in arms that their collection's down. Like it's only been 70 days since the peak or whatever it is. Like it's like, think about that, you know, it's crazy.
It's insane. So what are your plans going forward within Top Shot or even just the NFT realm?
I definitely explored a bunch of other projects. I checked out Zed Run, so I own a horse there.
What's your thoughts on Zed Run sneakily? Because
I
I've been looking.
you know,
I think it's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of projects are really interesting, and what I have trouble with is like keeping up with everything. And it's like in January, February, I got so into Top Shot, I was spending hours a day on that, and it was super fun. But then you kind of get distracted, and so I'm definitely not spending even close to as much time inside the platform, just because there's other things that come up, and you start like trying other stuff, and you can't do everything. So I think it's kind of just about like looking around, seeing what's out there, deciding what you really want to go into. But like you obviously can't go full on into every project. So
it literally is impossible. There's so many of them, and it's crazy now. It's literally insane. So
Zed Run to me, quick note, is like the way I envision it is if you go into like a betting agency here where they have in Australia, they got like a digital betting thing where people bet on it anyway. Like you could just you're bringing that to a game where it's the same premise. Maybe there's a few more tactics to it and things like that in terms of breeding horses and those aspects to the game. But I see eventually people gravitating towards it at some point. But it's interesting. I'm just watching from afar. It's as you said, you can't do everything.
It definitely has got merit when you walk into it's called a TAB down here, Jesse, and it's called Trackside, and it's digital horses, and it's just randomized, and there's people in there betting so heavily on it. That, and then there's greyhounds as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
they got a Trackside greyhound, and that's why we saw Zed Run, and we're like, this makes perfect sense. Like,
I think it's made by some Australian people, or so there's Australian people involved in the company. So maybe that was their premise behind it. They thought about that.
But legit, Jesse, you're right on the money. People love gambling. Like they absolutely love it. Just the exhilaration of whether your bet's going to get up or it's not going to get up, and people just love that feeling that they get. Like, and not for anything, the lows are very low. So as we say, gamble responsibly. But the highs are amazing. In gambling.
Yeah.
Now, two final things. The first one is a lot of people out there are happy to rag on Top Shot without giving it a go. Now, we've had people say to us, it's just like watching a YouTube clip. I can just go to YouTube and download it with a YouTube downloader, or I can get out my phone and record my screen. What do you say to people like that aren't giving Top Shot a fair go, not even looking into it?
I mean, you can really say that about anything. So if you don't get it, you don't get it. I mean, you can print out a picture of LeBron instead of buying his rookie card. It's the same. It's the same thing. If you understand collecting and kind of scarcity and what that means and what the fun in that is, and speculating on what's going to be more scarce and what people will value more in the future. That's the whole game. And I think the clip is just is just, you know, kind of an excuse for that to be built around it. And the blockchain technology makes it so you don't need the physical item, and it's just so much more efficient to buy and sell these things. So I don't think too many people are just buying it for the utility of watching a clip, right? It's not like, oh, I want to own these so that I can stare at the video all day and because I own it. It's like, yeah, then you can go on YouTube if you want to watch highlights. I think it's the speculation and what it represents. And, you know, that's really a lot of things. I mean, people collect cars that they don't drive and sneakers that they don't wear.
Definitely. I completely agree with it. And we've seen some really cool things come out around like the moments where you can get like a mini tablet and they load your moment onto the tablet and you can put that in a display around your home. Some of that stuff is sick. It just shows like when new stuff comes out, people like use their entrepreneurial skills and they come up with different ideas and different businesses to help support whatever people are collecting, which is fantastic. So I think there's definitely a future in Top Shot.
And that's cool. I like that from the art angle too, just like, you know, throwing up a Top Shot moment or another NFT on the wall. I think that's really cool. And people who say, yeah, but you don't need to own the moment to do that. I mean, you don't need to own a Picasso painting to go print it out and put it on your wall either. You could get a replica made, you know. So it's cool to buy a collectible and own it and put it on your wall and look at it and it moves.
So LeBron Top Shot moment. You want a LeBron rookie card. So anyone at the Hobby Hangout, feel free to DM Jesse if you've got one of those rookie LeBrons and hit him up and try and get him one. LeBron.com fan site.
Yeah.
Why LeBron? We've seen your Instagram as well. Pictures with LeBron. So you got a connection with LeBron. So why LeBron James as your go-to?
Man, I started watching basketball around when he came in the league. That was kind of the reason. I wasn't really a basketball fan until then. I was like 14 probably when he came in the league. And it was just like, you know, you heard all this kind of hype about this guy and he was coming out of high school. And then like he just really lived up to the hype. And I was like, I've always just thought like this guy is the greatest basketball player. And now I would say he's the greatest athlete of all time. I mean, it's just like really hard to execute at that level for so long. And I don't think anyone's ever done that. And then just kind of like when all this pressure's on you like that, like so many people have come in with hype and just cracked. And like LeBron just continues to have people hate on him and continues to perform, win championships, like be great off the court. So I think he's the greatest, and people like don't appreciate him as much as they should.
I like that because on our podcast, Jesse, we talk up LeBron a fair bit, and I don't think a lot of people like it, but it's okay.
I think people love romanticizing the past, you know. So, Jordan, this, that. It's like, why don't you just? If you look now, like to me, like Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, hands down. Like, there's no question, right? And people will still say, well, what about Larry Bird? What about Reggie Miller? And it's like, just because someone's not playing anymore, you don't have to talk them up. They were great, but they're just not as good as Steph. They're just not. And to me, like LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. Like it's not even a question. And people like will not admit that, but that's because just he's playing now. In 20 years, a lot more people will be saying that. So
also, you're happy with that little rundown by Jesse?
Hey, that's all right. We got what time is it now? 2 hours from now. We bring it back to LA's home court, and we'll take out game 3, and we'll go up 2-1, and LeBron will just shut the haters up once again. All right, so
we've got 2 Lakers fans here. I'm assuming you're a Lakers fan, Jesse, and you're what 1-1, and I'm a Miami Heat fan, and we're down 2-0. So it's all good. Sunshines and rainbows over here in Miami. So we'll see what happens. But finally, what's the future for Jesse Schwarz? What can we expect next?
Well, about to drop my own NFT project.
There we go.
Can't say too much yet, but that's coming soon. And just working on my own fun projects. This is my new clothing line, working on that. And then I'm trying to tie in whatever I do to kind of the NFT space and the crypto world. So I think that's the future. And I'm always been kind of fed up with traditional banks, traditional things kind of getting in the way. And I think that'll be, a bridge to the future. So
very nice. Well, thank you.
Have you bought any flow, Jesse?
Ooh, there we
No,
go.
I didn't. No.
Okay. Because it's down quite a bit now. So I'm just saying it was up at one point around $35. It's down.
I think
14.
I'm not an expert on it, but I think the amount of flow circulating is very, very small compared to. So people are locked up that own flow, because part of the deal was if you got in on the pre-sale of the token, you had to hold it for a certain amount of time. So I think the only flow out there that you can buy and sell is like the yield that people earn on their flow that's locked up, which makes the price inflate a lot. And I don't know much more than that, but that's what I've kind of gathered.
All right. I'll have to double down, look
But
into
it's very
it
useful.
more.
They are building tons of crazy platforms with crazy IP on flow. So
there you go. Might have to hook you two up, Jesse and Source, in the future to talk a bit of crypto. Might get you on for a pod to discuss that. But thank you so much for your time, Jesse. We really appreciate it. Not for anything.
guys.
No, anytime. To everyone back at the Hobby Hangout, thank you so much for letting us able to do this with Jesse. So on behalf of us, it's been Double Coverage. Keep living, loving, breathing all sports. It's been Dom, Source, and Jesse, and peace. Back to you, Hobby Hangout.
Peace out. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports. Double Curve.